Good afternoon. We will start this session on climate justice and poverty alleviation. Welcome, and this is for the diehards in the late afternoon. I'm very honored to see you all here and to present my panelists. We will present to you 3 cases today on the crossroads on social justice and climate justice. I will first introduce myself. I'm Heidi Degerickx. I'm the director of the Flemish Anti-Poverty Network, the colleague from Cindy who wasn't here this morning because she's ill. And I'm very honored to host this session with those people because they are all very great social workers. Let's introduce them. First, Stefan Goemaere, who works for the... Just a question, do you hear my earring against? Yeah, I thought so. This is common. I will put them out. Every time I get enthusiastic, it starts raining. So the 3 cases that we will discuss with you today is Stefan Goemaere from the community building service SAAMO, and he will talk about the project Papillon. Then we will listen to Marlies, who is a colleague of mine in the Network Against Poverty, and she will talk about a project that we are doing with the bicycle... the Fietsersbond, the bicycle... Cyclist Union. And then we will listen to Koen and Bob from Commons Lab, and they will talk about the case Woongenoten, and they will explain in English what that is actually all about. But these cases are they have something in common. They all try to innovate on the crossroads on climate and social justice, and they are elaborating on new partnerships. So we will listen to them and we will find out after the presentations what are the difficulties, what are the common shared lessons that we can learn from them and so on. I would also like to invite you to raise your hands, share your reflections, ask questions. So this is a very open floor, and so make use of it. Thank you. Stefan, can I invite you to present your case?
You can, of course. I'll first introduce myself, and then we'll have a 1-minute video that says more about the project, and then I'll talk more about the project. So I'm Stefan Goemaere. Like Heidi said, I work for a community organization, and I've been now working for 25 years. And for SAAMO, in the last 12, 13 years, I've been working on the fight against energy poverty. In SAAMO, what is particularly for SAAMO is that we always try to find structural solutions for the problems that the people in the community, mostly my communities and people in energy poverty, are experiencing. And sometimes the solutions aren't available at the political level, and then we call ourselves a social laboratorium or something like that, and we try to invent solutions ourselves, and hopefully they will be picked up by others, or maybe we will establish them ourselves. So yes, you can start the video.
De troef van het project is net dat we heel veel verschillende elementen die normaal gezien niet samenkomen gaan combineren. Dat is voor ons een sociale strijd en de strijd tegen energiearmoede. Maar dat gaat ook over de strijd voor een beter klimaat en dus het voorzien van energiezuinige toestellen.
to the next slide. Yeah, thank you. So what we are addressing is a social problem, which is energy poverty, and mainly we are working with families with low incomes or families who are experiencing energy poverty. Those two are not always the same. And we saw that a lot of these families are using old energy wasting appliances, which means they have a high energy consumption and a high energy bills, which causes more debts. So it's a vicious spiral. And so we found out that 1/3 of those families in Flanders families in energy poverty are using old appliances, which is about 142,000 families in Flanders alone. And that number is even before the energy crisis. So what was the solution to make those appliances available for those people? Well, and back in, I think it was 2013, I heard for the first time about circular economy and the products as a service. And then it was about Philips, who does the lighting in Schiphol. And I thought by myself, what if I find a producer of appliances that crazy that he won't be selling his appliances, but that he will be renting them out to people who can't afford these appliances. So we set up a product as a service. I found that economical partners, so a business partner, which is the company Bosch. And we started a co-creation process in how to make those appliances accessible for those people. And what we offer at this moment is a 10-year rental contract, so people can rent appliances. They don't lease it because they're not entitled due to consumption restrictions. And it's a service and guarantee included. So during those 10 years, if anything gets broken, it's the company who is responsible to repair it. And it comes at no extra costs for the persons themselves. And the persons do monthly payments. What we, with this project, or with the concept, I've been selected by then what was called social entrepreneurship companies and social innovation, which was for me as a social worker a totally different sector. And then the first thing they learned was how to write a business plan about your idea. And for me personally, that was one of the biggest experiences because I'm a social worker. Didn't got economical background. I don't have juridical background. And they learn me how to speak to a more economical, or to, as we call in Flanders, the people from the Degerickx management or business school. They gave me language to talk to them. And so they also said, you have to have a theory of change. So this is our theory of change. So what we do is we provide appliances. Then the yellow things are more the SAAMO-based things, and the blue is combined with Bosch. So we offer a rental model. We hope that we can lower the energy consumption or rise the living comfort of those families. And in the long term, we hope that we have less energy poverty. It's a product as a service, and the long-term goal is then that Bosch learns how to design new appliances that are made easier to repair, or that can be have a longer lifetime. And also because they are the owner of the appliances, they don't have to re-buy materials to make new appliances because they already have the materials. And we're social work, so we also provide assistance to the family, energy ports to see have they have the right energy suppliers, if they have the prepayment systems, do they understand this? I'm looking at the time, okay. And the end is that we hope that we have more active, conscious consumers. Results of the pilot, we started the pilot in the West Hook area of West Flanders, and in August 2018, where 73 families rent 120 appliances. We got a few prizes, and last year we were finalists in the European Social Innovation Competition. But most important, what are results actually? We see that we can save 22% of the electricity expenditure of people, which is 666 kilowatt hours. You can make calculation on electricity prices, how much money people are saving a year. Mostly the appliances are rented by people who are tenants, and mostly by single persons or single parents, which is for most people not something like rocket science. These are the people who have the most lowest incomes, of course. At this moment, we are, first, there was interest from other cities, regions in Flanders that asked, can we have Papillon also with us? So we started the first scaling. At this moment, we have 24 municipalities in 4 Flemish provinces. We have like 370 extra appliances that are being rented. From Papillon, we had influence on Flemish regulation on making appliances affordable. The reduction check from Fluvius for people from Flanders, that has been enlarged, not only in money, but also in appliances that can be bought through this, but also people who are entitled to social tariff can get a reduction on the price they are paying in the Papillon project. At this moment, we are scaling up to every city or public social welfare in Flanders that has interest in joining Papillon, and we have a replication in Czechia. Okay.
Thank you very much. You are done?
I'm done.
Yes, yeah. Thank you very much. A first interesting case, and I immediately give the floor to Marlies for our second case, because we want to feed you as much as possible.
Thank you. Hello, good afternoon. I'm Marlies. I'm working at the Network Against Poverty as a policy officer on housing, but I'm also responsible for the project A Bike for Everyone. It's a project that tackles transportation poverty by local bicycle projects, but first of all, wait a sec. The green button, yes. There it goes. First of all, I want to tell you something about the Network of Poverty and the context in Flanders, and then we go to the project. So the Network Against Poverty is a network of 61 associations in Flanders. It goes from West Flanders to Limburg. And the Network Against Poverty has its origin in 20 years ago in supporting those associations, where the associations are local. They are with their 2 feet on the ground. They are organize meetings for people in poverty. They listen to the stories, but also the signals of people in poverty, and they influence local policy. But the Network Against Poverty does that on Flemish level. So also the associations are very unique because in the poverty degree, they have to meet 6 criteria. It's about reaching out to people in poverty. It's about uniting those people in poverty. It's about strengthening their voice, but also working on the emancipation and the structures in a society. And the method they use is the dialogue method and a lot of training. But the goal of the Network Against Poverty and the associations is structural poverty reduction with and from the people themselves. So the expertise by experience and the participation are really central aspects in our mission and our vision. So we look at poverty as an exclusion, it's an injustice, it's a structural problem. And that we see also in our vision text we made up with the association, and it's about just be allowed to be human. It's really a fight for human rights and fundamental rights. We want to strive for a society in which everyone's human dignity is recognized. But if we look today at the context in Flanders, we see that the fundamental rights are not guaranteed for everyone. There is to make the link to the climate team, there is the fundamental right on housing isn't guaranteed for everyone. There is energy poverty, but also the transport poverty. And that's the project From a Bike for Everyone is about transport poverty. If we see today, the government wants us to make a modal shift. They want to get the people out of the car and take sustainable transport modes. They want us to take the public transport, but also the bike and also walking by feet. But at the same time, we see also that the government took a measure that removed 3,000 bus stops in Flanders. So, yeah, the problem of transport poverty is very big. It's 1 out of 5 people who experience transport poverty. And there's also an unequal use of transport poverty. But it's not only having a bike, that's not the problem. It's also a major form of exclusion. Without transportation, people cannot fully participate in society. That's Cindy, it's our colleague. She's here with us. So, it's a problem of exclusion, and that we take into account in the climate policy. Climate policy will be social or it won't be. The needs of people of poverty has to be central in climate policy. It's about the right on housing. It's about the fight against energy poverty, but it's also the fight against transport poverty. So no one is left behind. The base of climate policy is human rights. And that's our slogan, climate policy will be social or it won't be. And so we went on the streets. For the first time, we participated in the climate march in 2022 with our slogan, climate policy, yes, climate poverty, no. And at that moment, we were noticed by a lot of other organizations, the climate organizations, and there starts the project. So the Fietsersbond, the cycling union, came to us, and they wanted to do something about transport poverty, more the bike and poverty, and they wanted to give us a one-time donation. They are seeing us as a good charity, but we do structural poverty reduction. So a lot of meetings later, we have a structural project of 3 years. And then we did a collaboration also with SERA. But yeah, then A Bike for Everyone is born. The Fietsersbond, the Cyclists Union, is a member association and advocates for all cyclists through Flanders and Brussels. They are advocating for better bicycle paths, for safer traffic, and so on. And SERA is a financial cooperation. They have 400,000 partners, and their mission is investing together in prosperity and well-being in society. So SERA gives us the financial support to do the project. And A Bike for Everyone is actually, it's a fund for volunteers who has an idea in tackling transport poverty. It's a local project, so it's about local bicycle projects. You can think about repair systems or bike sharing systems. And the role of the Network Against Poverty is to give trainings to those volunteers, trainings about poverty in general. If we look today, yeah, the results, it's a project, it started in 2023 and it ends in 2026. But there are already 13 local bicycle projects. It's also about lessons for children, but also adults. It's about bicycle repair systems and so on. And we already gave 3 trainings and coachings to the Fietsersbond. But the project, yeah, it has its challenges, but also opportunities. A challenge in this one is, yeah, the Fietsersbond is an organization working on, yeah, climate goals, but they have a different vision on transport poverty. They see it, or they reduce it to a financial aspect, but transport poverty is wider than that. It's about barriers in society. It's about the access to a bike. It's about using a bike effectively, but also having the option or the choice to bicycle or cycle. So that's a challenge to become a shared vision on transport poverty, but it's also an opportunity because the volunteers are partners in the fight against transport poverty. So,
thank you, Marlies.
Thank you.
So now we go on to our third and last case. Bob and Koen, a duo, and they will talk about Commons Lab and the Woongenoten.
Okay, thank you very much for inviting us and to talk about the Commons at such a conference. It's very nice for us to have this opportunity. I brought somebody with me because I like to share everything. That's what we do as commoners. We try to share everything, so also the floors where we are invited. And today I brought Bob Docx. I know him for many years now. He is very active as a volunteer in the town where he lives. It's near Antwerp, one of the most important cities of Belgium, but doesn't matter.
Doesn't start there. Do not start there.
Yeah, that's a humor in Flanders. And yeah, I invited him because he's been working on the Citizens Collective, which I think is very inspiring, and I'm very glad that he wanted to share his experience with us and also with you. So, Bob, thank you very much for coming, and then I will...
Yeah, okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. I could be his grandfather. I'm retired already quite a time, but as a volunteer, I still continue. We'll see how long. I'm 75 already. We see that in Belgium there are more and more vulnerable people, financially vulnerable people, Belgian as well as refugees. And they can't find, it's almost impossible to find a decent house at a decent price. And about 7 years ago, there was a crisis in Belgium with, because of the fact that there came many refugees to Belgium in a certain period. And in Brussels, they didn't know what to do. And they organized it that way that each village has to take a certain number of refugees and to find a place to live for them. And also in my village, Boeghout, it happened, and at noon, around noon, we got a phone call from the public center of the community at OCMW. It's called, I don't know how you say in English.
Public Center for Welfare.
Center for Welfare, it's easy. And we had to lodge 25 people in the evening of that same day. So it was panic a bit, and we started looking. At the end of the afternoon, we found them. We had 25 houses with families who wanted to take someone for one night. It was just for one night, and then we would see afterwards. And that was the beginning, and very soon after that, we started a local group. It's called Gastvrij Boeghout. And gastvrij is being with open arms for someone who enters your house. Gastvrijheid, a liberty for guests. Enfin. And it was a group of about 20 people, and we started all kind of help for those people who came to our village. And I was in a little group looking for housing. And one man of our group said, I'm not going to join you in sitting together and think and write and read. No, I take one person and I will go with him to try to find a home for him, a house where he can live. But I will write where we have been, and if at the end of my list there are 100 lines he made, and when at number 100, and we still don't have a house to live in for him, I stop. And 3 months later, he passed with his list 100. 100 times that they got at the telephone. Yes, you can come and look for the house. And he goes together with the refugee. Oh, it's a pity, it's just rented. Oh, I'm so sorry for you. There is a name for this. We call that racism. But in Belgium, there's no racism. No. Enfin, it shows how heavy the problem is. And there is a second problem in Belgium, or in the Flemish part at least. We have a minister who is responsible for housing, Minister Diependalen, and his policy of housing is limiting as much as possible the building of new social houses. That's his policy. Yeah. We hope that the election will punish him, but wait and see.
Vrijheid van vrijwilligers.
What? Okay. So we started to look ourselves for houses, and we had the same problem as the first guy of our group. And then I thought maybe we have to start a cooperative. And I have a past of working in a cooperative garage. And in that, with a cooperative, you can have more possibilities to work together with different people and so on. So, and you can discuss together and decide together. So we had a plan, and together with a companion, a woman who worked in another city, in that same welfare center of another community. And together we started to visit everything that was organized around housing in Flanders. During 2 years we have visited everything, and in the same time we were building up, as a consequence, not as an aim, building up a network of people who were busy around housing. And that's one of the key factors that made our success, that network and the knowledge of the problem. Those two elements, whatever you will start sooner or later, keep it in mind. Knowledge and a network. And we have been making a work of starting the cooperative, and we started to 1.5 years we have worked on it to make the statutes, the rules for the cooperative. And it was a nice document, and it was well done, I think. And we asked our background group, about 30 people who were interested to know about it. And we made a meeting, and we have given that document around the statutes. And at the end, almost everyone said, very good document, but don't do it. It's a lot to do. Start a company. A cooperative is a company. Yeah? And it's about everything you have to do as a normal factory, you have to do also as a cooperative. And that costs a lot of money, and it costs a lot of time, and so on. So we rethought our plan, and we said, okay, we are not going to make a cooperative, but we have the need to find a cooperative who can do what we would have done as a cooperative. And we found, so the idea is, don't do what others do already and do it good. So we looked and we found Woonkoop, and Woonkoop is in Belgium quite well known already. It's a cooperative who works around housing, but normally housing for middle-class people, to make co-housing projects. That's not for our public. So we asked Woonkoop, can we sell parts of Woonkoop, of your company, but that you use that money only for our projects. If we find a house and we look for ethical investors, they can buy parts of Woonkoop, but on a different paper, so they can see, that's not for Woonkoop, but that's for the housing project in Boeghout. And we came to an agreement, and that is functioning. Now, we have now about 120 ethical investors who buy parts of Woonkoop. Those people have those parts, and it's a proof that they have paid, and they can always return it and get their money back. So they are covered, safe covered, and they are member in the same time of the General Assembly of Woonkoop. So they can come to the meeting, can see all the boekhouding,
numbers,
the accountancy, they can control, they can do suggestions. So they are safe, and in the meantime, we don't have work, because the computer does everything. The people who buy those parts, automatically the computer says, here is the proof of your parts. And that's an easy way. At the same time, we organized that at the other side, when there is a house that we have been able to buy, then you have to appoint it to some family. We only buy houses, larger houses, for at least 3 people, 3 children and a family, so parents and 3 children. And that gives a higher price of the house. But in the same time, you see that once people know that you're buying houses to rent, everyone knows you. And start calling and writing mails and, we have some family, it is so bad, and that's true, that's not a question, but there's only one house at that moment. And we have said, we don't know who is most in need. So also there, we don't do the thing that others do better, because the social renting company from the government, they have a waiting list. So we asked them, and there's another organization in Lead also with volunteers, not from the government, but also doing good work with refugees. They have also their waiting list. So we let Woonkoop rent the house at one of those two partners. And they see in their waiting list who will come in. So that means that we systematically can say, no, we don't rent the house. It's one of those two. Because that is done already and is done good. And at the other side also for the buying. And it keeps our hands free for looking for houses and looking for people with money.
Thank you very much, Bob.
And that's the part.
Thank you. Koen, you still want to say something about Commons Lab?
Yes, I really like Bob, and I think you like him also. He's very inspiring and comes from the heart. And I'm going to pass some slides. I have some more theoretical stuff now. But this is, for me, a very good example of a citizens' collective. It's not the government that's solving every problem in our society. It's not the market who is solving our housing problem in Flanders. So now, yeah, it's up to the citizens who come up with new solutions, and they organize themselves, like Bob and his friends in Boeghout. That's what we see in all kinds of policy domains, also in climate change, and we also everywhere in Belgium, but also everywhere in Europe, and I think all over the world, we see citizens getting organized to work on housing problems or climate problems. Most of the time, it's very local, and that's what we call commons. I don't know if everybody's familiar with the concept of the commons. There are several different definitions of the commons. I'm going to give you the classical one. So you have three ingredients. You have a collective of people. They share a resource. It could be a house, it could be a car, it could be everything. And they're making agreements about the use of the shared resource. That's very important. Every member of a common is taking care of the shared resource. And that's a concept that it's happening all over the world for many centuries. It's not new. It's very old. It was a culture, not only Europe, but I think in every part of the world. Collectives of people were taking care of land, forests, meadows. And now, the latest years, as we are facing a lot of challenges, we see more and more of those commons like Bob. And they're not only working on their own problems, they're also, like Bob, he's volunteering, but he's doing all the work for also other people. So a lot of the times, yeah, they're very solidaire. And yeah, that's what we like as Commons Lab. I'm not going to talk about Commons Lab too long, but we are searching those initiatives all over Flanders. We try to connect, and then we do interviews, and we try to learn also from those citizens, because we don't have all the knowledge ourselves. I'm quite modest. And we try to share all this inspiration, and like we're doing
today.
Right now. Yes, and also in this upscaling, maybe we can collaborate, because I think what you're doing in Boeghout we can scale it up all over Flanders. You just need 2 or 5 volunteers in a small community, and then you can start. That's
with a lot of determination.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Okay, I would like to invite you also to take a seat, and now we have the panel talk, but maybe first I will have a look to you guys. Are there already questions or remarks or reflections? You can just raise your hand if you would like to say something. We have a lady who will come up to you with a mic. We'll have a look. No, everybody's still good. Hope you're feeling inspired. Okay, then we'll talk with those guys, with my panelists a little bit more on on the startup of all the kind of different collaborations, because it wasn't easy in all those cases. You already elaborated a little bit all about it, but perhaps I would like to start with you, Stefan. A community building service, core social work, collaborating with a big company like Bosch, was that easy to set it up?
Well, first of all, it was unusual. We from SAAMO, West Flanders, weren't used to work together with a company. Like said, we got the language to talk to a company, but then you have to contact that company and they have to be interested in why should they invite a social worker.
And how did you succeed? Did you know somebody in the company, or how did you break through that wall?
I have a big friend and he's called Mr. Google. And I went to Bosch Netherlands, contacted someone in Bosch Netherlands to ask him who do I have to contact in Belgium to have such a project. Then I got a name and then to email. I sent an email, hey, I'm Stefan, I have this bright idea and I think you should be interested.
And it worked immediately?
It worked immediately. It worked immediately to be invited. So then I went, there were those two persons, we had a talk and they were interested. And then we had a few meetings and every time we went back, there were more and more people from Bosch. At least at last time we were 2 social workers, 2 community workers and 14 people from Bosch.
Okay, this was a grand jury.
Yes, and I was that naive that I thought, okay, that's one company, and if you have the right person in that company, but you have to have 14 persons in that company. And then we were on speaking terms. And then I got a notice that my 2 contact persons on the same day got their, severe.
They were fired.
They lost their job at the same day, so I had no one to talk to.
They were talking too much with you.
Maybe too much spending time with me. But then, I tried to recontact Bosch. But at the same time, we had another project, which was then a third payment system for appliances. But there was still an opportunity to work on this subject. I did a detour with Whirlpool, which belongs to Philips.
So you left Bosch a little bit and you went to Whirlpool.
I looked to another company and to see who can help me. They said, okay, you have to protect your ID or we will steal it.
Oh.
So then I had to...
Interesting.
Then I had to find out, and protecting an ID, how do you do?
How do you do that? Yeah.
You have an organization, Design Flanders, which is when I, as a social worker, went to Design Flanders and say, okay, I want to protect an ID. How do you do this? They learned me. Okay, it costs 25 euros. It's very simple.
Cheap.
But I wanted to work with Bosch. Why? Because as a social organization, for us, Bosch was a more friendly company because they are not on the stock markets. So they don't have to make profit to pay to shareholders. Whirlpool does. So then I sent an email to Bosch.
And you threatened then you would go to Whirlpool?
No, not yet. I said, I sent an email to info@bosch.be.
Normally that never works, but...
And then you get a number. You said, okay, your question has been noted. It's number this. Then 2 weeks later, I said, okay, I have a number. Can I have a response, please?
Yeah.
And then I found the right person at the right time.
And then you were started.
And then we were started. Yeah, then I went to talk to Bruno, which is my liaison at Bosch. And 1 year after our first talk, the first appliances were delivered. But it took me 4 years from the first talk to the first appliance.
very interesting to hear. It's not easy to start innovative collaborations, and especially when you don't speak each other's language or culture. I would like also to elaborate on the same maybe search in the Network Against Poverty and the Cyclist Union.
Yes, it was also a difficult beginning, I think, because we were noticed at the Climate March 2022, and the Cyclist Union came to us to give us a one-time donation. But the Network Against Poverty does structural poverty reduction, so we had to have a lot of meetings about the shared vision on that, transport poverty and the problem of that. But the Cyclist Union, every year they have a campaign, Bike for Life, where employers sponsor the bike rides from their employees, and that money they will give to a charity. So they look at us as a charity. But we do structural poverty reduction, like I mentioned. But the money from that fund wasn't enough, so we needed more money. So then we collaborated with SERA, who supported us financially. I
also remember that the first thing that they were thinking about was like repairing second-hand bikes and then giving them to people in poverty. That's something that we a lot get as a donation, or when we get a telephone, we want to donate something material or money. And we also talked a lot on that with them. So we need more money, we need a 3-year project at least, and it cannot only be about repairing second-hand bikes and giving them out to people in poverty. Do you think they have shifted already? We are now in a 1-year collaboration with them?
Yes, because of our trainings and a lot of coachings and a lot of meetings about the definition on transport poverty, it's shifting.
And we're also very happy to have like the citizens here in our seats, Commons Lab. When I look at the 3 cases, you're not the classical associations that we know a lot in Flanders and in Belgium. This is really from the ground up, citizens taking a social problem in their hands, like the case that you elaborated on. How do you both guys look at the positioning of this kind of citizen initiatives and positioning them in the whole field of social work organizations, public and private?
I'm quite active as a citizen for a long time, and I also live in a quite, I don't like the name, but they call it a deprived neighborhood in Antwerp. So I know a lot of social organizations for a long time. And sometimes there are a lot of tensions between different people, and that's what I like about the woongenoten. And that's maybe the thing when you're a volunteer, you don't have maybe that much time, or maybe you're a bit more pragmatic, I don't know, but you're really looking everywhere who's doing what and who's good at what, and then you're trying to bring them together and to let them collaborate, and that's what I really like. That's maybe a thing that I don't do enough in my own neighborhood, because we have a lot of organizations, we have a lot of expertise, but we don't share it as much as Bob's doing. But
because that's also quite innovative collaborations between citizens groups that are not a recognized association with subsidized, but just really free people in a community. And how do you then collaborate with the present associations, civil society, and so on, also that is something interesting to collaborate on. Eh? But you said it very well, Bob. You saw what can the public servers on welfare, what they do best. We will not take that over. What does the social housing company do? And there was like a gap in between, you explained?
A large one.
Yeah. And was it easy to find your place in between those organizations?
Yes, because as well, the private organization in Lier, a little city near to Antwerp, who organizes with 150 volunteers the guiding of new refugees, inclusive looking for houses, but also looking for work, looking to learn Dutch and so on. That was one possible partner, and the other was the one of the government, the social renting companies of our sector. And with both of them, we had a good contact. And the problem with one of them is that the part of the governmental, they can't pay much for rent to the owner of the house. And when you want to buy houses, you don't have the choice. That's what there is, and you want it. If you want it, you pay it, and if you can't pay it, you don't buy it. It's so simple. So we sometimes we had a very nice offer from the local church ownership, and they had a house that was completely broken and so on, and many years empty, and we got into contact with them, and so at the end we could rent it for 50 years. It's a special formula in Belgium that you can do that, and only at €1,000 a year.
Yeah.
So it was cheap for us, and it was worth to completely renew that house. It was almost €200,000 to pay for the complete renovation. But in 50 years, it's not much. Yeah. And so this makes it easier, that kind of formula, but we've done it just once up to now. And something aside is that we also pay much attention when we have to renovate a house. We only do it with climate-friendly materials.
Yeah.
And many times it's a new roof and isolation. So, and the pur, it's a material that everyone knows. Those days, pur or pir, they call it sometimes also. We don't use it because it's not renewable.
Yeah.
And maybe it's only in 50 years, but in 50 years it still will be not renewable. So we do it only with wool of how to all say.
Yeah, I don't know it in English.
Wool of wood. That is.
And maybe also to give an answer to your question, I don't know if I'm not really the target group of social workers. So maybe that's the answer, because I'm living in a deprived neighborhood, but yeah, I'm also one of the people who's gentrifying my neighborhood. So sometimes I also feel a little bit of the enemy of other social groups in my neighborhood. I'm just maybe opening up the discussion, but I don't know if that's the reason why we're not always collaborating as good as we could be,
or should be. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of potential.
Still.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's about understanding each other's languages and logics and plans and also priorities, but when we speak about housing, energy poverty, transport poverty, I think everybody also in this room will recognize the problem. So then it's the second question, how can we collaborate on it in a structural way? That's, I think, is also very common in those three stories, is that you're all searching to have a real impact on the long term. Maybe I will have a look at the zaal. Do you have reflections or questions for this panel? Yes, I see a hand raising upwards. Thank you for your courage to speak out.
It's yeah, it's just like maybe an idea for the. Sorry, I forgot your name. With the bicycles, when listening to the story of Papillon, did you maybe think, oh, maybe I should start to write to bicycle brands to look if you can start up something similar, to have like cheap rentable bikes in the same system that they have with appliances?
Yeah, so copycat Papillon with the bikes.
Yeah,
It's been done in Limburg.
Yeah, perhaps take the mic.
Limburg.
great idea.
Okay, let's pay 25 euros and take that as the idea of.
Done this week in Limburg.
Yeah, okay. So the idea is already taken.
Yeah, it's already existing now.
Yeah, I'm from Limburg, also SAAMO. And we have also in the north, there's a leer-ecosysteem, and it's repairing, caring, and digitalisering. There's a lot of opportunity to share, and the overlapping. My English is not that good.
Yeah.
So it's
You can also just speak Dutch,
Nederlands.
and then they
Ik
will
denk in
translate.
transitie.
I think that we should avoid the challenges that we see in the many sectors that we are active in. It's a mind shift, and if you work for vulnerable groups, you will do your utmost to change something. So you will move where you can reach the highest quality, and there you will try and see whether it's ethically responsible. I think that's a mindset, and I think we still think too much from our roots, from our social past, but we should step away from that. I think we should have the courage and really that entrepreneurial spirit and keep in touch with our target group. And you can reach that by being brave enough to digitize and so on. That's an added value. So I think that we need to enhance that even further. I really believe in that. We are pioneering and we feel a lot of resistance. Sometimes people don't believe in us and people say, keep on dreaming, but we should believe in it.
Inspiring reflection. Others that have questions or remarks or great ideas? Yes?
Try in English. I can.
You can also say who you are, maybe.
Yes, I'm Josephine Nelissen. I am a teacher at higher education in social work, and we are trying to combine now competentions in corporate science and menswetenschappen, people skills. Yes, we're combining students now from our both campuses, the ones who are really into the numbers and the cooperative language, with the ones who have the social skills and the analytic competentions. So I think we will make and we will create more people who have that urge to combine two worlds and change social work into also entrepreneurial social workers.
Yes.
I think it's a good definition.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I'm totally agree, but I've been picked up or been active in what's called social entrepreneurship, and I don't like to be called a social in the social entrepreneur world, they see social entrepreneur on finding a solution for a social problem, but making profit on it. And we want to make profit, but profit for society, not profit for a
economic.
company, not economical. The first time I went to Bosch, I said, please don't give me someone from corporate social responsibility. I don't want to have 100 appliances. I want it to be an economical model, but you don't have to make a big profit. You have to make profit on it, because otherwise the first time it goes bad with Bosch, it's the first project they will skip, but now they make profit on it, but it's not a big profit. And I like to call myself more a social innovator than a social entrepreneur. But we use now entrepreneur skills to innovate. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you see that language is also important to us, of course, because the tension between social profits and economic profits is there. And so we will have to balance in between those tensions, innovating, but also not forgetting our core values. Other questions or reflections? Yeah, I see a hand raising there. I'm very fond of the fact that you are becoming interactive.
And having support.
Eerst en vooral dank u wel.
First of all, thank you for your explanation on this very interesting project. My name is Wille. I work at coordinator at the Service for Societal Integration. It's a federal service that focuses on poverty alleviation. I was wondering, how do you reach the target group? How do you make sure that those people know that these projects exist? Because I can imagine that many people would benefit from these products, but they simply don't know about them, or maybe they are afraid to ask about them. People who are a bit ashamed to ask for them. So how can you really reach those people?
Yeah. In English or in Dutch?
Yeah, in English.
Okay.
We are speaking English.
Misschien vertellen is wat ze gevraagd heeft.
I will repeat the question. Yeah. So the question of the lady there was, how do you reach those vulnerable groups that are the end users or should be the end users of this kind of projects? And she especially referred to the energy poverty and transport poverty project. So the question is towards
we reach expert by experience through our associations. We are a network of 61 associations. They are our voelsprieten. They have their both feet on the ground and they are meeting people in poverty. So they reaching the people in poverty and by that.
Yeah, I think the associations of Network Against Poverty are not first-line social work, but front-line social work, because we don't do anything of caregiving or we don't speak about clients. We are just places, houses where people can come and connect and speak to each other. We facilitate the fact that people in poverty can meet each other and talk about their problems without stigma or prejudice and so on. So when the Bicycle Union came to us with a project, we have them, so there are, how do you say it? Ze zijn onze achterban. So reaching out to people in poverty is not difficult for us because we are them. And I think it's actually a little bit the same for SAAMO because they have community building and projects in very vulnerable groups and communities
but
also.
Not in the Papillon project.
No.
So what we did in the Papillon project is one of the side things I do in my job was in my region I bring together the social workers from the public social welfare who work on energy, and we have a stakeholders meeting. So I have a direct contact with 17 municipalities and with the housing services of those municipalities. And so we informed them on the project, and they could transfer people to us. Yeah. But very quickly it was mouth to mouth within the people themselves, saying, I have a new washing machine, and they send it to their friends or neighbors. And now in the scaling, because I don't know who in Hasselt lives in energy poverty, it's through what I call a social franchise with the local public welfare from Hasselt.
Yeah.
And they decide who can rent, and we try to make it as public. We will launch a website in September, so after the summer holidays, to make it even more known.
Yeah. So I don't know if it strikes you, but in the first case and the third case, there is also a close collaboration with the Public Welfare Center. So we have the private associations, but also a Public Welfare Center who plays an important role in reaching out to people in poverty. Yeah. Other questions or reflections? Needs that need to be met? Bob?
There was someone who was telling about ask other people, to dare to ask other people to help. I think it's something everyone has to learn, to dare asking something on other people. And in my experience, it was, I've never had a chasing away, because I came to ask something for collaboration, or to look for collaboration. And people very often, when you come to ask it friendly, are interested, and you can tell your story. Sometimes they don't want to help, or they have no time, and so on, different reasons. But you go from you go away in good relation, and sometimes those same people call you afterwards with the message, "Yeah, I was thinking, and I thought maybe I can give you a good advice around someone of something," and that way it spreads, and don't feel too quickly, the door of my nose, I don't come again. Eh? And same with people who work for the local government. Be friendly and dare to ask, and sooner or later it will help you.
Yeah, thank you for this positive note.
Yeah.
I would like to close the session with maybe one short message from the three cases. What is the takeaway that you want the audience will take away home from the project Papillon?
Okay, so my thing would be keep on going. If you believe in something and you have the belief that what you are doing does make a change, then you have to go through. Just like Bob said, I'm convinced that every opportunity I get to talk about Papillon, I talk about Papillon, and it brought me private investors who gave money. So every opportunity, go for it and keep on going.
Persevere.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Marlies, a takeaway from you?
Yes, I hope the project, The Bike for Everyone, inspires you as a social worker to look for partners or organizations active on other domains and put the needs and the expertise of people with poverty central to that organization, because I think poverty is a business of everyone.
Yeah, thank you. And then Koen or Bob? Bob?
In the Belgian constitutional law is written, housing is a right for every Belgian person. Everyone who lives in Belgium has a right by the constitution to have a house. If something like that is clear and legal, there also to say to the minister who is doing those poor people, we have, with our group, the Woongenoot, we have two goals. One is to help find a house and find money to buy that house and so on. And the other one is to put a great pancart each time where we go and talk to people about our minister Diependahl, who really dare to do that.
Yeah.
Wherever you come.
Bob, I will take you everywhere where I go. I would like to... No questions or reflections anymore? Koen, sorry, you also want to give a takeaway?
It was just
this was just so good. I thought, this is it.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. And yeah, I'm also very critical about politics. I can complain after the sessions for many hours. I'm quite skeptical about the political future, but as long as we have people like Bob and other social workers, I have still a lot of confidence in a good future for everybody. So my dream is that we can collaborate more and use all those human resources, all those talents, and also appreciate each other. And that's, for me, the future, that we collaborate more. So.
Very nice. Thank you very much. I would just have one last look. No more needs and reflections anymore in this room? No? That will end with thanking you all. On a personal note, I also would like to invite you maybe to have the dialogue even further tomorrow, because I'm hosting another session where Wim van Lancker will have a keynote on social justice and climate justice, and why should social work care about that. I will also be the host there. And you will have the opportunity to talk an expert by experience, another colleague of us, who will also be in the panel. Thank you very much for your attendance.